Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is what has got to be the first animal spirit guide video that I've done in years, and I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what the lag is with that because I literally come across so many different animal spirit guides, but this by far is a video that I should have been done, and we'll get into that later. But even just from the past animal spirit guide videos, I go back and I look, and sometimes I get notifications like in the middle of my day of like somebody went back and watched like the eagle spirit guide video, and they're like, wow, this video helped me so much. And I'm like, y'all, I did that video in like, I don't even know, 2017, 2018, and just kind of was using it as a therapeutic process for myself to get that information out there about how that particular animal spirit guide helped me. And it's just so awesome to know that even years later, something that I thought was so small ends up, maybe being a turning point for someone else that comes across the video even years later. So thank you guys for all the love you always show on that, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that. We're going to get into, like I said, an animal spirit guide that I should have been covered just because it's affected my life just throughout the years, and that is Ladybug Animal Spirit Guide. She is my favorite. I'm referring to her as she. I just find that energy to be really feminine, but I mean, it's just I feel like gender, all that, none of that matters. It's just energy and how it feels to you. And I've always found Ladybug Spirit Guide to be very feminine, and I think how I'll do this video is I kind of wanted to start by talking about how this animal spirit guide has affected me throughout my life, and then we'll go into the symbolism, because wow, I knew from a young age that this spirit guide was nothing to play with. So one of my really early indications of just how powerful this spirit guide was when I was maybe, I don't know, maybe like 13, 14. It was like that transition between going to junior high and going to high school. Now, at this time, I was in a single parent home with my mom, so she worked, she did the best she could. We had, our basics, and then we had, maybe some extra here and there, but, for the most part, my mom, she struggled. She was just like any other single working mom. So during that time period, we lived in like an apartment building, and it was like isolated from where my school was, so I'd never got to see my friends. So I was just like constantly praying for some kind of financial breakthrough for my family so that we could get out of this circumstance. I wanted to change so bad, and that's when I probably should have known too that I had quite a bit of manifestation power, like even as a child, because I would just fixate on this all the time, like, man, I really want to get out of here, and visualizing about how we could be living and stuff like that. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, in our apartment building, there was just this crazy ladybug infestation that came out of nowhere. Like, it literally just one day we just was like one or two, and then it was like 3 or 4, and then it was like 1,000 ladybugs, like always trying to get into each of our bedroom windows. My mom just like, she didn't really know what to think of it. We all were just like, what is this? Where are they coming from? Why are they coming like this? Like, really trying to get to the bottom of it. So not too long after that, my mom, she had started, or she filed a lawsuit against her job for racial discrimination. And I don't know, if at that time she was, spiritually inclined to what the ladybug symbolism could have meant. I'm not sure. And, she's not alive now for me to ask her, but I would love, that's one of the conversations of many that I would love to like ask her about. How did you feel during that time period? Because when I tell y'all that things just started to happen miraculously for us in a positive way right after that infestation, yeah, so pretty much she won her lawsuit. She got a nice settlement from her employment, and life just continued to go upwards from there. We moved into a gated community. I just mark that as a preteen, as that being the point that life just went nowhere but up from there. We started moving out of state, life just went up, up, up from that point. So I've always kind of marked that infestation as the point when things just, like I said, went upwards. Like it was nowhere but up from there. We had some times, some struggles in between, but in terms of main events that took place after that, they were all events that excelled us. So that was when I was like, yeah, this is kind of weird, because my life was so sweet after that, y'all. So that kind of brings me to the main symbolism. And y'all know I got my notes, I always got my notes. With this theme of like miraculous happenings, like the magic of life, like the things that can happen if you do believe in manifestation. So we'll get more into that. But I did also see a ladybug. I see them just at different points throughout my life since then, but there was a time I saw a ladybug with my little sister when I was feeling pretty down about my situation from COVID. And I remember I was outside with my sister, and she was like, "Oh, look, a ladybug." And I was like, yeah, things are about to get better from here. And there was just an uptick in my business. And then from there, I started getting my funds together to be able to move out again. So it was just like, wow, my life did start going upwards from that point. And then recently I saw one in DC when we were out and about. Me and my friends were out and about. I swear there was a ladybug that stayed on our windshield the whole night we were out. And that trip was just so blessed. It was like everything just fell into place perfectly with that trip. I swear, like, it was definitely miraculous events that took place. And then the past few days, that's what made me make the actual video, y'all. That's what made me make the actual video. My windowsill, literally, I'm just kind of, no, let me back up. I'm driving with my friend Khalil, the one that he's always on my vlog. Check out my vlog if you haven't already. And he rolls his window down. He's like, "Oh, look, a ladybug." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, here we go." I hadn't seen one in a while. And then the next day, so yesterday, I'm cleaning up my house a little bit. I'm feeling pretty good. I was in a really good headspace to note that. And I saw like one trying to get in one side of my bedroom window, and then I seen three, and I seen one flying by the window. So it was like probably 5 to 6 ladybugs total trying to get in my bedroom. I was like, OMG. And then I went to bed last night, and I woke up, and there was 2 ladybugs above my bed. I'm telling y'all, I just feel so blessed, and I feel like it's nothing but good coming my way. And I even tweeted about it, and a couple of my followers were like, "Yeah, you got some luck coming your way," which I've always taken the time with Ladybug Animal Spirit Guide to like write about it in my journal, how I felt when I saw it, what it means, what it symbolizes, and just, show my gratitude, of course, for Animal Spirit Guide. It's always popping up at the right time. So the symbolism for ladybugs, you all, is good luck. And, like I said, that's kind of what I always associated with, like a turn of events. A positive turn of events is the best way to put it. Like, because I can honestly say, when I was with my mom before, we kind of had our upward spiral, things kind of seemed to be going downwards. Like my parents had just got a divorce. My mom had just moved out on her own, so she was struggling. And then it was like a positive turn of events when we had that infestation. So from there, like I said, things just was smooth sailing. Life was actually sweet. Life was sweet from that point on. And then great fortune. So like fortune to me is like something maybe tangible, or just like things going so much so your way that you're like, wow, my fortune is good, or even tangible words, tangible advice, like advice that maybe somebody gives you advice of how to invest in something, and you utilize it. Like, you have great fortune, like you're able to, like there's fortune in those words, you're able to utilize those words to bring about something tangible. Or maybe, fortune is physical money, like somebody giving you, you're fortunate enough for somebody to tangibly hand you money, just good fortune, coming into good fortune. It's definitely what I associate Ladybug Animal Spirit with. Also protection. I feel like it's kind of like that Mario Kart, when you get the rainbow special powers and you're just feeling so good and you're like flashing and lighting up and you're just like trailing through, and it's like you're repelling all the other opponents and all the negative energy. That's how I feel like the animal spirit guide makes you feel. Like you just feel so good that it's like you repel any kind of negative interaction, any kind of negative thought process that can come in and take your prosperity. Like, that's the best way I can put it, y'all. And then love. So they say that this is blessings for love. Now, going back in the past, my mom, she did have good love at that time. She had a really nice romantic partner that was so sweet to her, and like he always bought her gifts. So it was almost like she had a miracle in that sense too, because she had just got divorced and then she ended up meeting someone really nice. Even though they didn't work out, like he was still really good to her. She had a period of really sweet, loving interactions with a romantic partner. So must be nice, babe. Maybe I will be manifesting that as well. Who knows? Going on to the importance of lightness. Like, ladybugs are just so, like, when they fly, their wings are just fluttering. It's not like they're flapping or, just like going so hard. It's just like they're lightly floating through the air. So I think it stresses the importance of going through life that way, in a lighthearted way, not taking things, so harshly. If something goes wrong, not dwelling on it, not letting it hold you back. Just, hey, we're going to move past it. Yeah, that happened. It sucked, but I gotta keep flowing. And even having like a sense of humor about things, just having a lighthearted way about you in this life is extremely important. Also, just like keeping a clear head, making sure your mental is balanced and that you're open and receptive to new information, and that you're at peace. You're not anxiety filled. You're not constantly in your head. Just keeping a light headspace as well. So then I know y'all like, girl, this is a lot of symbolism, but it's really a lot that comes from it. And the other one is talent and grace. There's a certain grace that comes with ladybugs, and I feel like the way they move and the way they land, and even when they're on you, it's kind of like they're almost as like they're on their own center stage when they're in the palm of your hand, because they're just so beautiful. Their design is so unique, and they're just fluttering through life. So it's kind of like, in a sense, we're just kind of watching their show. They have this grace to them. They're floating through life. That's their show. And I feel like we can learn in that sense of, just being graceful in terms of our composure in our day-to-day life. Just when you're lighthearted, you're not taking things so harshly. You just move about life in a different way. And people are having more pleasant interactions with you. You're having more pleasant interactions with others. Just, feeling more in your element when it comes to creating and producing art. If you do that in form of art, it's like you have a grace behind it, because you feel so good about it. You're creating out of a really pure and happy and joyous space. So it's like you're just doing it effortlessly and in this way that, just, I keep saying, just has a grace to it. But it kind of reminds me of my friend Khalil that just started painting as well. It's like when he paints, he's in his zone. It's like, the other time he's talking a mile a minute, but it's like when he's painting, he's just gracefully going through the strokes. He's into it. He's happy. He's joyous. He's happy to be doing that particular activity in the moment. And it's just, like I said, it just flows. It's like a finesse to it. So I just think we can all embody more of that as well. And then positive changes, new beginnings, kind of talked about that. Fortunate turn of events. Just changes that come in now. I kind of had a message about that with my tarot too, where it was kind of like, don't be reluctant just because it looks this way in the beginning, because the changes that are coming in are actually going to be positive down the road if you can't see it. So it also speaks of divine intervention. So again, that kind of goes with that positive turn of events. Just things happening, things unfolding now are actually going to be for the greater good, and it really is just confirmation that the universe is stepping in, because I've had for some time now the sensation that there was going to be some kind of change that was going to be out of my hands, but that it was going to propel me in a major way. So fingers crossed, y'all. We will see what it is. I have definitely been putting the work in and will continue to do so. So I'll keep y'all's fingers crossed for me. Y'all, I think this is like the final. No, it's like two more. Okay, so seeing the miracles play out in everyday life. Yeah, for sure. I think it's just like you might find when you see animal spirit guide Ladybug floating around, it's an indication that, things just tend to flow more smoothly. Like things that might typically give you a hard way to go, just kind of work themselves out. Like things that might typically add stress to your life are suddenly simplified. And then also, outside of that, just like solutions, maybe solutions to problems that you've had for a long time, like just suddenly arising. So, just a sweetening of life, a simplifying of life is what comes with Ladybug Animal Spirit Guide, and we'd love to see that. Now, y'all, this one, I think this is why I wrote it last, because it really is like super important. So it's living in your truth and making the right decisions based off of that. So that's big. I mean, who even tells a ladybug where to flutter to? It's just kind of like all they do is just be beautiful and just float with wherever they feel drawn to go or wherever the wind takes them. And I just feel like that's so inspiring because it's like you don't know the path of a ladybug, but it's like, maybe that's their thing is to just flutter, flutter, flutter and land on someone else and remind them to stay positive and remind them that, things are going to work out and that everything's going to be okay and things are going to be more than okay. Maybe that's what they do. They just go around and spread their animal spirit guide wisdom and spark that thought on everybody they land on, should I say. Like, okay, like that's their thing. They're there to inspire thought about positivity and, living a prosperous life. But who's to say? I mean, you don't know. You just have them in your hand for that moment and you enjoy them and then they go on with their journey. So it's kind of going back to that concept of not just knowing your truth, but living in your truth and then also making decisions and trusting those decisions that you're making based off of this knowledge of who you really are and what is really going to work for you. So that's beautiful to me. I feel like that's beautiful to me because we often like say, oh, I'm worried I'm not making the right decisions, but it's like, is it about making what is perceived as the right decision or is it about making the right decision based off what works for you? So I'm actually going to leave you all with that. I hope that this video has brought you some clarity. I hope Ladybug Animal Spirit Guide lands on you or your loved one soon. And if you've already had, a visit from Ladybug Animal Spirit Guide, I hope that this video gives you more clarity on the prosperity and abundance that is on its way to you. So much love and many blessings always. Talk to you guys soon.